3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, folks.
Hi,
We're
everyone.
on the road again.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our Q&A session, our Sunday question and answer session. We are on a nice scenic drive today. Let's get right into
It's so efficient doing this while we're headed somewhere.
And you know what?
isn't it?
So, okay, one of the questions here, actually, maybe we'll start there.
Is it rude me having sunglasses while I do this?
It's kind of sunny. We have some sun for the first time in a very long time, so it's okay. Let's just keep them on.
So you don't think it's rude? I'm okay to keep these on?
I think you're okay.
Okay.
I think you're okay. So we'll start there, actually. So Yassine Mohammed says, great show. Are you both in a driverless vehicle? I'm curious. So our setup that we have here is, regular dash cam that kind of records everything. Most people got dash cam now.
Don't you folks see that I'm driving?
I don't think they can actually see from the view that you're driving.
Really?
The camera kind of stops right.
Okay, so my hands are on the steering wheel.
Yes.
Side view mirror, rear view mirror,
So the setup is
I can do this.
A dash cam, a small little dash cam underneath the mirror, microphones here, and yeah, that's our show. So yes, no, we are not in a driverless vehicle.
That's the technical part of our show.
Yeah, that's the technical part of our show. But yes, so we're not in a driverless vehicle, but thank you for saying great show. Let's start it off with this comment here from Paul D. We picked the bumpiest road. From Paul D 5500. Paul says, I got to turn this one sideways so I can read it. Paul says, my friend and I bought pre-construction condos with closing in 2026.
Oh no.
We paid roughly $13.30 per square foot with no intention of closing on these properties. But now prices have come down and we have no idea what to do. How should we approach bank and ask for a blanket appraisal? Is it hard to get? Thanks in advance. So I think this has to do with, there's been news that the banks, I think it was in particular RBC, have been giving out blanket appraisals for the pre-cons.
Yes, but they're not called. That's an internal thing. The bank internally says, we're going to approve these.
Yeah, it's more of a mass decision as opposed to a personal decision, right? The blanket appraisal is saying, hey, so any blanket appraisal is saying all of your sales for that building, we're going to approve at whatever price you had sold it at. So it's not like an individual thing. You can't say, if you go to the bank and ask for a blanket appraisal, that's
not a product.
That's something different. They do have it because we've seen blanket mortgages where it's basically, if you own multiple properties and you want to take a mortgage out on one, they say, okay, we'll give you the mortgage on that one. Oh, beautiful house. We'll give you the mortgage on that one. But you guys might see it in the corner. There's a beautiful house on the side, but
under construction.
We'll give you the mortgage on one, but we're actually registering the charge on all of your properties, right? Or X amount of properties, whatever. But that's a blanket mortgage, and that's for people that own more than one property. But the blanket appraisals that they're talking about with regards to the pre-construction is a decision between them and the builder. It's not a decision between you and the mortgager.
It's not even a decision involving the builder. It definitely affects the builder.
Yeah.
But it's the bank deciding this is what we're going to do because the bank doesn't want any issues with the builder's construction loan, basically. So this is also another part of the technical part of our show.
Yeah.
We're getting pretty technical here. But I do want to say some more on this topic. So you appreciate your honesty and you saying we bought with no intention of closing, but now you may feel you need to close because you may be losing a ton of money if you were to sell it. And selling on assignment is really a long shot. So you may have to close in order to sell, or maybe you'll keep it, but just you really, really need to know the options and what are the consequences on both sides. there's no great situation for you here. You've got two options, close or not close, because you could default with the builder if you either don't qualify for a mortgage or you choose to go that route. I'm not giving you advice which way to go here. You really need to speak with your real estate lawyer and get the numbers straight. What's it really going to cost me to carry this and to close? What's it going to cost if I walk away and just tell the builder I'm not closing or I can't close?
Mm-hmm.
You need serious advice on that before you make a decision one way or another.
Yeah. So, yeah, just to say, if you're in that situation, just speak to your mortgage broker, speak to your lawyer, and try and get that all sorted out as soon as possible, because the longer you wait, the harder it will be, right?
Well, he said closing in 2026, so you got some time.
Yeah, you still got a bit of time. And you know what? $13.30 per square foot is on probably one of the more lower end of some of the stuff that we've been hearing. So, hopefully that situation gets sorted out. So next question here comes from LAQ8.
Cool. I thought you were going to say.
I know. I thought it was
Cool J.
I was going to.
That's LL.
Yeah.
LL Cool J.
Close.
You know who that is?
Of course.
I don't want to. You're a young punk. How do you know who?
I don't want to age myself here, but yes, I do know who LL Cool J is. Anyways, so LAQ8 says, just want to ask about the average sold price. How big of an indicator is it reflecting in the market?
How big of an indicator? Look, it's an indicator. I don't want to answer it in such a way where it's like the only indicator. There's a lot of different indicators. So average sold price has more value to it when there's more of a sampling. So there's more volume. The lower the volume, the less detail or the less accuracy in average sold price. But over time, if you're doing the same thing and looking at similar type of numbers, we can see trends. And that's why we use average sold price.
Mm-hmm. So the whole point of all the data we give you average sold price, we give you median price, we give you months of inventory, we give you sold over asking, we give you new listings, all that stuff put together is to try and give you
paint a picture
of what's going on in the market right now. And if you put all of those together, you could get an idea of what's going on. But with regards to average sold price, I mean, sometimes we'll see weeks where there are, substantially more higher end properties selling, and that changes the price. And then sometimes
we look deeper into that. This is to give you a general idea of where the market is trending.
Mm-hmm.
You should not base your decision solely on the numbers we produce.
Yeah.
Your specific neighborhood, price point may be behaving differently.
Yeah.
But we're giving you an overall picture.
So but it does give you a pretty good idea of what's going on in the market if you're not in the market, right?
Better than most places, I gotta say.
So, So I guess we'll go into the next question here, which is kind of a critique of our statistics we're giving. So Mr. Bojo says, so you are giving us statistics on how much is average sold price without actually giving feedback on the square footage, build quality, etc., as compared to average sold price.
Whew, I got tired just thinking what that would entail.
Mr. Bojo, we will go through every listing.
So, Mr. Bojo, you're not happy with the way we're producing it now, the hours we spend to put all this together for you every week. You actually want us to visit every house and give you the quality of each sale.
Oh, man.
Thank you, but we just can't do that.
It's impossible. It's impossible to get that data. There are, like, when we go through the data points for all the sales in all the areas that we cover, whether it's condos, whether it's detached, whether it's Toronto, whether it's Durham, there's like usually around in the slow season, there's usually about 1,000 sales total together that we're going through. And yeah, to go through and figure out what the build quality is on each one of those would be next to impossible.
And then, some will be close. So we got to have sub
Yeah, we
qualities.
have to have, so that's not going to happen. But I think the information that we give out now,
I hope you enjoy what we're giving you now.
It's pretty good still. I mean, like anyways, we will get to the next question.
But the way we answered this, don't let us discourage you for asking another question.
Yeah.
Maybe we're coming off a little bit,
that's
maybe we're rubbing you the wrong way here, but it's not our intention.
It's just, I mean, it's difficult to do more than what we're doing now. I mean, it's a lot of work, but we enjoy it, and we can't
build quality. I'm sorry.
I know. I'm thinking about that too. But yeah, so, okay. Anyways, next question is, this one, when people have a bunch of letters and numbers in there, it makes it tricky. JL3215TOR says, did the seller really need to disclose the broken fridge? Wouldn't have been okay just fix the fridge and not tell the buyer at all? So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Well, this is the one where I believe they discover, and most times they discover the broken appliances whenever that is the case on a buyer's visit.
Yeah, in a home. I'm just trying to remember that specific one. What the home must have been vacant, because the seller is not living. Because if the seller's living there, they would know.
Yeah, and they would.
So look, if something breaks and or gets damaged, then you're the seller, and you just go ahead and fix it and deliver it, in a basically the same or better state than what the buyer bought it at. You really don't need to do anything. Just get it fixed and move on. But it's when the buyer notices, then, that's the buyer already knows, and they're going to, ask about it after it's fixed.
Yeah. And generally speaking, I mean, one of the things one very common real estate tip is, if you're buying a place, usually you'll get 2 to 3 visits. Your agent should be putting in the agreement that you're getting 2 to 3 visits to see the property between the time you agree to buy it and the time it closes. And oftentimes what they say is, the last visit, save that for just before closing, and then go through the stuff, go through everything.
Check everything.
But, why that is difficult sometimes, saving it right to the last minute, is because oftentimes when it's right at the last minute, so let's say you're closing and the day before you do the final showing, oftentimes the people are already gone, right? So if they're moving out, if they're moving all their stuff, whatever the case is, like they're gone, they're out of that house. We had this situation happen, like I think last week with one of our closings, where it was, because we asked about all the stuff that we wanted done, we did almost that. It's not an inspection per se, but it was just making sure the stuff was as according to the agreement.
Yeah.
And because we did that a few weeks early, it actually gave the seller time to, whether it was fix what needed to be fixed or replace what needed to be replaced, really just get it up to what the agreement called for.
So what do you say? Do it a few weeks early, not at the last minute?
Well, I don't know if it's a few weeks, but if you do it right at the last minute, I mean, chances are it might be a little more tricky to get the seller on board with, hey, okay, we've already moved everything out. We've gone, we've left. Maybe they moved somewhere else. And then it's like, hey, you got to come back and fix the fridge, right?
Yeah, I would do both though.
Yeah. No, of course. You want to do it at the end too, just to make sure. But
make sure they got all their garbage out. Make sure that there's no, when they moved out at the last minute, there's no big, huge hole in the floor. And, and the agent will also jump in. If it's a respectable agent representing a seller, they'll jump in and help out too.
Yeah. But, Okay. So next comment here comes from the Chabagru one. And this is with response to our video where we were talking about that we're actually seeing more people that are starting to call and talk about wanting to come back into the city.
Yes.
Because of the return to work mandates, right? And the Chabagru here says, you're dreaming. People would rather resign than live in shoebox condo next to drugs and crime. What do you have to say about that?
What do you have to say about that?
I think people are scared to resign because what are they resigning and moving on to?
Exactly.
Right?
And what we're talking from our experience. We're not, when you say you're dreaming, no, our eyes are wide open.
Yeah.
We see people calling us, asking us for help to move back. We've helped people move back into the city, and their living situation here is definitely not as desirable as to what they had outside of the city. And I don't mean, in the next suburb. I mean, like, they were way out. But if they quit their job because they don't want to come back, unless they are financially independent, then you got to ask why they working anyways.
Yeah.
But unless they're financially independent, they can't quit their job because there's probably not going to be that kind of a job to replace it elsewhere. And maybe they don't need to make as much money because they're elsewhere. But everyone's going to make their own choices. Some people have moved back temporarily where they rent a place and they still have their place out there. There's all sorts of different ways of looking at it. But I think you're going to be hard pressed to find people. There's going to be some for sure that'll quit their job and do something else. But the majority can't quit their job.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people are worried because the job market has been tough recently.
Yeah, but they don't also have to move all the way back into the city.
Yeah.
They could move halfway or to neighboring town or something,
Okay, so this next comment comes from Jared Vaughn 1665. And Jared Vaughn says, remote work saves companies a lot of money in real estate costs.
Absolutely it does.
Yes, remote work does save companies a lot of money in real estate costs, but that is if those companies didn't already sign extremely long-term leases.
Yeah. And do they lose money when do they lose productivity? There's a lot of, we're not going to get into this.
Yeah. The companies, I mean, they're not doing residential leases for a year, right?
No.
Like they're doing, 5, 10, 15 longer year leases,
a lot of times the companies that have taken over these big spaces, they've spent hundreds of thousands in renovations there.
Yeah.
Because they've got a long lease there.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, it does save real estate costs for the remote work, but that is if they're in a position where they can renegotiate on their contract or they're just starting
That's just
it,
one
whatever
aspect.
the case is, right?
Having less people at work means you need smaller spaces.
Yeah.
That's just one aspect.
Yeah. Okay. So next comment comes here from Vert911, and Vert is one of our loyal commenters in the chat. So thank you, Vert, for all your support. But Vert says, and they were the first one to notice, wait, what is this new music?
We snuck that in.
Yeah, so we decided it was time. It was time. We've been running with that no for a very long time, and we
tried to find yes.
Yeah, we couldn't find yes. So yeah, we've changed our music. We've changed our intro. We hope you guys like it. If you don't like it, give it a couple more weeks. You might really learn to enjoy it because it's a really cool.
We changed it up for the spring. Yeah. The spring season is here.
Yes. Okay. So next comment here comes from Robbie DU18. And Robbie says, do you remember the stupidity on the way up? Well, it's the same stupidity on the way down. How did people cash out in 2022? I have no idea. The financial stupidity in Canada is mind-blowing. I think he meant how people didn't cash out in 2022. I have no idea.
Well, because a lot of people thought it was going to continue to go up.
Yeah,
if you cash out now, you're losing the 100,000 increase for next year.
It was so odd how that happened, because it was like anyone that was caught right in between. It was like, when was it? February, March, April of 2022, where things just really started to turn. And anyone that was caught at that particular time, like that would have been the worst time to decide, hey, you know what? I want to go on the market.
Yeah.
Right. Because you saw everyone around you sell. And then the next day you go to list your house and all of a sudden no one shows up, right?
Yeah.
So, what a
crazy time.
Yeah.
Crazy time.
Okay. So next comment comes from DanMan7419. And Dan says, people need to understand that not every seller is broken underwater. Many sellers don't have to sell. This is why there's a standoff. A lot of sellers have a lot of equity in their property and will just wait.
It's 100% right.
Yeah.
It's 100% right. A lot of sellers will wait. They're holding off. They'd like to sell, but they kind of want their price. They have understood the market's softer, but they're not prepared to come all the way down, and they'll wait. And if they don't sell, they don't sell. They'll wait. They'll wait it out. He's 100% right.
Yeah, I think we talk a lot about how prices have changed and how things are down and stuff like that. But it's for I'm not going to say a small fraction because there was a lot of people that transacted in that time, but it's for the people that had purchased within the past, let's say 5 years.
Those are the ones that are more in trouble.
Yeah,
they've got much less equity. Those are the ones in trouble. But anybody that bought longer than that they could be sitting on a ton of equity.
And also specifically, it's so the people that bought within the past 5 years that are in a situation where they need to transact again.
Right.
Because, we know people that purchased for, some crazy numbers back in the heyday of 2022 and they're perfectly fine.
They're fine. They got no intention of selling. They're making their payments.
Exactly.
Everything is good.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it does affect a smaller portion of the population. But anyways, next comment here comes from Shreyansh Dutt. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but Shreyansh Dutt. And they say, I think forging documents to get home will become the norm, and that's where we're headed. Shreyan, this comment was left 5 days ago, but I think you are maybe 15 years late because I think forging documents to get home has been a massive problem that we've had for a very long time, right?
Is it going to get better or worse? She's saying it's going to become the norm. Look, I don't know. I think there's lots of evidence of it actually becoming more and more difficult to do that, especially with income being pegged to the CRA.
Yeah.
So that on its own is going to, change that whole game of fraud mortgages. But then you got this whole AI animal that, I don't know, can create I don't know. They
can create a
There's
whole
technology on one end making it easier. Yeah. Making it easier to do. And then there's advances in how banks and governments look at stuff that makes it more complicated. I'm not sure which way it's going to go.
Yeah.
I would hope they put a stop to it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I think, there's been so many calls now for the government to allow the CRA to link directly to mortgage applications, and that should have a pretty strong effect on people's affordability, right? But it's one of those things that it's just like, we just do it. You know what I mean? Just do it. Like they talk about, we're thinking of doing this.
This makes sense. One day we might actually do this.
We might be onto something here. Just do it. Stop wasting time. Right. But anyway, so I think we were headed in that direction for a long time, Shreyan. And now hopefully we're at a point where they can just get on with this. And so we can actually have people in situations where they're buying a house that they can afford and not, $20,000 income, $2 million home. Anyways, next comment here comes from John Miffs. And John Miffs says, love your content.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Can you give stats of Humber Bay? Thank you. We have it broken down. We have it broken down kind of like in a map, right? And we did that. We specifically did that because we got a lot of people that ask, I live at St. Clair. What's my property value?
3 blocks around me.
Yeah.
What's the
And so I mean, it's impossible to get to every single area and give. I mean, we could, but we'd have to be paid a lot more by YouTube in order to do that. Right?
Let me just say,
yeah,
what you're asking for, we do for our clients.
yeah,
It's very involved, very detailed, specific areas that concerns our clients. On a show like this, to the public, wide open, we can't possibly do every neighborhood that everybody asks for.
yeah. So
I hope what we are providing, you find some use for.
Yes, exactly. So thank you for the comment, John. But next comment here comes from Opinionated363. And this is funny because they say, so this is with regards to our video where we were talking about how you should be kind of wary of any service that is forced upon you by a realtor.
They tell you, you have to use my lawyer, you have to use my mortgage person.
Or they try and convince you in some, oh yeah, you can use your lawyer, but like this guy will do it for this guy is better, blah, blah, blah. Like just be wary of that. But anyways, this comment comes from there. And Opinionated says, this is great advice. Years ago, we fell into the trap where we used the agent's lawyer. Did not get good service, but we were naive. I wish we had your advice then. Young people, listen to Sessa's words of wisdom. Maybe that's what we should call this show. Sessa's words of wisdom. But Jesse underneath writes, a paid message brought to you by Team Sessa Realty Services.
It almost sounds like.
Oh, that's funny. It just says jokes, but yeah, that was funny. I thought I'd include that one.
Checks in the mail.
Yeah, exactly. No, that was so thank you for the comment. The last comment here comes from CR27, and I end every video with a nice comment.
You made me nervous.
CR says...
You said CR, I thought you were going to say CRA. Like,
no, CR27
ruining
says,
my drive.
Your videos have been instrumental in helping me make informed decision. Thank you, Santos, for your excellent work.
Call me Santos.
Santos, yeah.
Our pleasure. Thank you. Thank you to all of you that tune into this show. Much appreciated. Have an awesome weekend.
Yes. So thanks for watching us again. We appreciate your support. Leave your comments in this video and the comments throughout the week, and you could be featured on this show here. And so thank you. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
See you, folks.